to expand economic growth, create jobs, and expand economic opportunity for middle-class families, the American energy sector will continue to be an important part of that. Okay, Jim.
John. Is today a referendum on the president?
Well, Jim, I think as your own poll that I cited earlier indicates, it's not. The fact is the voters, again, the voters who at least picked up the phone to talk to people who are conducting a poll for CNN indicated that that at least a majority of them were not trying to send a message to the president with their vote, that something else was driving their decision.
And that showed that the American people, though, see the country moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah, but it's tough to discount those CNN polls, though, isn't it?
It is tough.
It is. Probably tougher for you than for me. But
really good polling unit.
It's true.
No question about it.
It's true.
But you can cherry pick certain metrics, but you know, the American people do believe that the country is moving in the wrong direction. The president's had 6 years to get the country moving in the right direction. And you have a lot of Republican candidates in some pretty key states and states that the president won who are running against the president. They're not running against so much the candidate on the other side of the aisle. They're running against the president. Isn't that fair to say?
Well, again, I think you have to look at what the vote. I think what the important thing here is what's driving the voters' decisions. And you know, the folks at CNN who do some good work on this have obviously unearthed some data on this. I think there'll be more data in the form of exit polls tonight that will give us greater insight into what's driving the vote. I don't think it's a particularly controversial notion to cite that most voters, I think, are deciding who to vote for based on the name that's on the ballot, not the name that's not. You know, that said, the president has sought to support Democratic candidates, particularly those who share his view that policies benefiting middle-class families should be at the top of the agenda. That stands in pretty stark contrast to the approach that's been taken by a lot of Republicans. They have a philosophy that's different. They think that policymaking should be geared toward driving benefits to those at the top with the expectation that people lower down the totem pole will benefit. You know, the president has a different view, which is that our economy is best when the middle class is growing and thriving and at its most dynamic. That is the philosophy that the president's pursued. I think most Democratic candidates across the country agree with that general philosophy. Some might describe it differently, but I think that those visions are pretty consistent, and that's why the president has worked so hard to benefit Democratic candidates in states all across the country, and some, as Jim pointed out, in some states where the president didn't do very well in the presidential elections, and in some states where the president did pretty well in the presidential elections.